Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, the Three Musketeers. I'm John Gray.
I'm Peggy Burton, and I'm so glad to have you back.
I'm glad to be back. I missed you
Good to
guys the
see
last
you.
couple of weeks. I'm Jim Fuller, by the way.
I mean, we were
Yeah,
just.
if y'all don't remember
we were just
him, that's
struggling
Jim
here.
Fuller.
Yeah, I was gone for 2 weeks. You may not remember.
We're over here struggling without you.
Right, yeah.
But
The
we-
show goes on.
We-
Yeah, the show
we
goes on.
carried
That's
on.
right. That's right.
The show
Absolutely.
goes on.
Well, I'm glad you feel better. I know you're glad to be back in the realm of the living.
I actually only had a couple of days.
That was horrible.
That was kind of bad,
Yeah.
but other than that, I was pretty good shape. But then my partner, or our partner, had an issue, medical issue, and then I had to try to cover that.
Oh, wow.
And I was out there in an element where I wasn't familiar with the day-to-day procedure, as often happens to me. So anyway.
But you got through it
we got through it.
in
So.
Spartan manner.
And John and I were wrapped up in South
We were wrapped
Jackson
up in the
Country.
country
Yeah.
show. And
If you
let me
could-
tell you what, Jimmy, that's probably Friday night, the Friday night audience, because it's Friday night.
Yeah.
There's something special about Friday nights. It's always the best audience of the weekend.
I don't ever notice that totally.
Oh, yeah,
From
oh.
your viewpoint, but I thought.
But Saturday, we had a great Friday night audience. Saturday night's audience is probably the best audience I've ever been in front of in my life. They were absolutely engaged in everything we did. They laughed whether they needed to or not. I mean, it makes it, when you're an entertainer on stage,
Sure.
that makes it so much better that you have energy to play off of.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you got to work a lot.
You got to work real hard.
And
at that.
those are the kind of things you never forget, because the opposite to that is you go out there and you really got some good stuff, you think, and then nothing works.
It's a big old bomb.
Yeah, nothing works.
And that's usually the Sunday afternoon audience, because they've been to church.
Right.
They're
They've been to
hungry,
lunch.
They're tired.
Right.
Some of them haven't.
They need
They
a
go
nap.
and sleep.
Right.
Oh, I thought they were all great
No, they
audiences.
did. It was a great
And I,
weekend.
for one, appreciate an audience. I think often performers forget that they need to support other things and become an audience. You know, sometimes you get wrapped up
Yeah.
in being a performer, and you forget that it takes an audience to make you complete.
Oh, of course.
And I thought we had great audiences, great sponsors.
Commercials were fantastic. I mean, it was just it was a great show. And if 39 years, next year's going to be 40.
And we had
If we can drag each other
we had
through it.
Mary Jane Couch come all the way from Washington State to be on our show.
Yes, it's like I said, it's a family reunion. A lot of us don't see each other but once a year during the time that we're doing the country show.
That's true. Yeah.
Because there are people from Winchester and Nashville and
Right.
Shelbyville and all over, and everybody's living their own lives. Mary Jane, she's with us in the studio today, is in Washington State.
Isn't that great?
You know, and so all of a sudden, all the circus comes together at South Jackson
Yeah.
Civic Center, and it's just like a family reunion.
Right.
And we're telling stories and looking how this one's grown 6 inches and
Yeah,
that one's
exactly, yeah.
pregnant, and I mean, it's just wonderful. It's
Yeah.
a wonderful thing. And it's wonderful the way the audience and the way this town supports that and buys into it in many ways, not just financially, but emotionally and supportively. It's just a great event.
So see what you missed.
Yes, I missed that. But I've talked to a lot of people that went to it, and
Yeah.
they absolutely loved it. All three shows.
I was very pleased, and
Yeah.
I had a lot of help. I mean, obviously, I had a lot of help. Otherwise, we couldn't have pulled it off.
Yes, and Peggy has 2 young Turks that she is
Training.
training to take this over, because we were young when we started all of this stuff, and the young people need to carry it on. Sooner or later, somebody's got to carry it on, and that's
I have no doubt.
that's Samantha Waters and Jacqueline Painter.
Both former students of mine, and Lindsay Seaborn, who did the warm-ups, helped with the warm-up show. Martha Brooks.
Martha Brooks wasn't there.
Because she had to go and get married.
She had to get married during this show.
She had to get married, yeah.
Well, no,
she did. She's a beautiful young lady, and she'll be back.
So that's great.
So all these
It's a
people that
great
I've
time.
trained are stepping up.
It's a great time.
That's good. Anyway, did you bring breakfast?
No, I didn't bring breakfast.
We used to bring breakfast for
Hey,
this. Somebody did for the
Somebody
show.
would bring bread, and that we
Yeah,
kept
right,
doing it.
right.
This weekend, I believe we have in his story by Cat Murray.
Cat Murray, his story told by her.
Yeah.
Number 13.
And that's Michael Jackson. And
Uh-huh.
that should be fun. It's always fun. She does a great job. So.
And
Is that just one night? I can't remember. It's just one
it's
night.
one night. The money this time, she always gives all the money away, and the money this time goes to Alzheimer's Tennessee.
Oh, well, and we need to reiterate that South Jackson Goes Country is a fundraiser for South Jackson
That's
Civic
right,
Center.
sure.
It takes so much money. Nobody can possibly imagine what it takes to run that
No,
place.
it takes money.
Oh my gosh, where did you come
Well,
from?
she was in her little
Aw.
basket over here where she sits
Aw.
when we do this show, and for some reason or other today she wanted out.
And she got her little ribbon on.
So we don't know
That is
what
the
that.
That's
sweetest thing.
Doodlebot.
This is Doodlebot, by the way.
Doodlebot.
Yeah, right.
How long have you had her?
She's 5 years old.
Oh, she's a sweet little thing.
That's a
Look at her ears.
that's an office dog.
It is, and she actually belongs to Pamela, our partner that had the surgery. So anyway,
And she's a miniature poodle. Is that what she is?
she's a toy
Toy
poodle. Yeah.
But they
And
just look like a
however,
toy.
this could be the end of an era of me bringing her to the show
Yeah.
because she wouldn't stay in there this morning, and she's done it for what, a year?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, now she's ready to.
Every time she comes to the
Move
studio,
on.
she runs down the hall and she comes into my office because she knows I eat fried chicken. She's hunting a piece
Oh,
of
she's-
chicken skin on the floor. or
right.
something.
She always goes to John's office because she figures John's got something good to eat.
Yeah.
down
Something
there,
she,
so.
she's not supposed
She
to
is
have.
so cute.
Right.
I'm probably not supposed to have it either, but that's just the way things go.
Right. Tiger Woods had a great weekend this weekend, did he not? At 42 years old.
Absolutely incredible.
Knocked it out of the park.
Well, you know, he hadn't won a tournament now in what, 10 years?
Long
About
time.
10 years, yeah.
And he's finally well, and his back's well, and he shot 64 on the last day, came in second. And it's kind of sad because Koepka, who won it, this is 2 majors he's won this year, and he was the only one that was against Tiger. Everybody else in that crowd was for Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, it's a good thing for golf. When Tiger's good, golf is good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know, that is a sport, and with all of the bad stuff that we have going on in our country and all the strife and the conflict, you know, Tiger Woods is the one person, when he went into golf, he was basically the first African American to ever play that game. Certainly the only one to ever be as
public,
successful as he is. And this Sunday, when he knocked that birdie putt in on 18 to get within 1 stroke and walked over the bridge, everybody on the golf course was turned clapping for Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
White, black, yellow, blue, didn't make any difference what color they were. Tiger Woods carried them above all this racial stuff that
I
we
love
deal
that.
with.
Yeah,
and
I
that's
love
why
that.
he's so important to golf and sports as well. So congratulations for him.
And at 42, that's quite an accomplishment because, you know, athletes, no matter what sport you're playing, you know, when you hit
You
your
start to wear
40s, you know,
out, yeah.
you're probably not as good as you might have been at
Well,
one time. But
what Tiger Woods did, he was the first golfer that was an athlete.
right.
He was the first golfer to go in the weight room. You know, most of those old boys, they were kind of
play,
chunky
yeah.
and fat, and you know, they weren't in shape. Tiger Woods was a weightlifter, went into the weight room and became a golf athlete. And he created the golfers that we have now. And this Koepka that won that thing looks like a linebacker.
Yeah.
He hits the ball 400 yards.
Yeah.
You know, so Tiger created that whole group of people that has followed behind him.
You play golf?
Right.
I did for years and years. I don't anymore.
Yeah,
My shoulders
I
won't
used to
allow me.
as well, but
I know Ralph was an avid golfer.
Ralph was a fabulous golfer.
He was a good golfer. I played some golf with Ralph.
He should have been a pro.
He was a pro, Peggy. In so many ways, Ralph was a pro.
He married me. that
He
made him a
married
pro.
he married you,
And-
Peggy, so
and-
you know that's
He really
absolutely
was.
to
He
his
really
credit.
was. He came up hard and worked hard, but he became a great golfer.
He was a great serviceman. He was a great teacher. And he was
He
one of
made-
the best.
He made me laugh out loud.
He was one of the best I've ever seen at being in control and standing in the shadow, sort of all the stuff that Peggy would do. He was always there to help.
Mm-hmm.
He used to laugh and say, people call me Mr. Peggy Verse.
Yeah, I can imagine if you were married to Peggy that you would stand in the shadow a lot.
Oh, he could hold his own.
Of course, and he did it with such grace, and such a gentleman. Always a gentleman.
Are you listening, Ralph?
You listening, Ralph? We're talking about you.
We got a great show today. There's a lot of good
we've
people
got all
on.
kinds of people on here, so I guess what we better do. Oh,
You got a.
I got a 188 Loku number 188.
What inspired this before you start?
This weekend.
Just a weekend.
This weekend
Okay.
because
Country show.
it's about me doing me.
Okay.
Well, I mean, really, and I've heard this said before, but no matter who or how much you love, you can only do it your best if you love yourself. At times, that may require you to be a bit selfish.
That's true.
Because you have to refuel yourself.
If you don't love yourself, you can't love anyone else.
No, and sometimes to get the job done that you need to get done, the way you need to prepare yourself might be a little bit selfish. To get ready, to get your game face on and get the energy there to do what you need to do might cause you to neglect something else. But to be the best you that you can be, sometimes you have to be a little bit selfish.
You have to just.
You have to give yourself your own time.
Look out for number one.
Yeah. So that's that, and we'll take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Russell's got your truck, man. Russell's got your truck.
Keith Barnett here at the Russell Barnett Automotive family, and we have sold so many new trucks. We've got over 100 pre-owned trucks to choose from. Any make, any size, any model. It's as easy as going to russellbarnett.com to check out our pre-owned truck inventory. And remember, why buy your next truck anywhere else?
With the best selection anywhere, Russell's got your truck, man.
All I have to do to think about what I was physically before and what I am now, and I don't ever want to go back to that original situation.
The overall mission of the rehab team is always what is best for the patient and how we can facilitate maximum potential from every resident.
Well, the most important thing to me is that I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do,
Everyday miracles at Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're pleased to have joining us on the set now George Morris with Tullahoma, Captain George Morris with the Tullahoma Police Department, and he stops by occasionally to kind of give us some information about things that you may not know or may have forgotten about, which very well could be the case today. George, you're going to talk about traffic signals.
Yes, sir. And at the time of year we're in, we have a lot of these pop-up thunderstorms going on right now. And a lot of times during these pop-up thunderstorms, we'll lose some power, or there may be a vehicle accident where we lose some power, and power may be lost at these intersections. Just want to have a friendly reminder of what to do at these intersections. When you approach these intersections and the intersection lights are completely out, these intersections should be used as a four-way stop.
Right.
Which means when you enter the intersection, just for instance, you and another vehicle enter this intersection and there's no lights, and you enter it basically the same time. Just remember the vehicle on your right will have that right-of-way through that intersection. Just use extreme caution, but just try to remember those rules of the road. These are things that we don't think about. But also, when you come up to that same intersection, let's say there's been a power outage and it's starting to come, the lights are blinking yellow or the lights are blinking red. Just to remember that when the lights are blinking yellow, you do not have to stop that intersection, but you should slow down and patiently go through the intersection.
Yellow means caution.
Yellow means caution.
Right.
And on the other side, you may have a red flashing light, which means stop. Of course, again, danger, but you will have to stop at that intersection until the other side is completely clear.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I guarantee you that's going to happen to you. You're going to run into a situation where the traffic light's out or something like that, because that happens. No, I wouldn't say it happens a lot, but it will happen.
It will happen.
And you need to kind of be prepared for that sort of thing.
Right.
And some of you may have driven all your life, and you may not remember that little thing you said about if you pull up to a four-way stop, the person on the right has the right of way.
Right.
You know, you may have forgotten that from the time that you took your driver's test.
You got an increased likelihood of an accident in an intersection where there's no light signals in that intersection. So it's just remember those rules of the road. And, today's day and age, it's so easy to look it up. You know, basically, it's talking to the smartphones you have now, and just, you know, what do I do at an intersection that's down? And it basically goes through and it'll show you the statutes on it and how to find what to do in those intersections.
You know, George, I hadn't thought about that, but probably if you pull up to the intersection, you get that information in, you can get it off your phone.
Probably so.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
yeah.
Just you know, just go back and just teach yourself again. You know what the rules of the road are. That could cut down on a lot of accidents. Just knowing the rules of the road, and we forget those as we, you know, we've been driving for a while. We forget those.
And my, you know, what I always try to remember is that just because you may know the rules, you can't always be 100% sure that the person over here that's pulling up to that stop sign knows or will follow the rules. So
exactly.
you got to be a little bit cautious when you do that.
Well, it's like, for instance, I'm sure that when I went to school, before you could ride your bicycle to school, you had to learn some safety rules with the bicycle, and had to have a paper sign, you know, so you could ride your bike to school. But during that time, you had to learn some rules of the road. One of which is turn signals. What signals to use when you're riding your bicycle, which those are true for automobile operation also. So it's just remember, look those up if you don't know them for sure, but just remember that your arm signals are your signals. If your turn signal's not working on your vehicle, please use those arm signals.
Can you demonstrate for us, George?
Well, you probably could demonstrate some of them. If you remember, the right turn is your horizontal out. And that right there's your right turn. Your left turn is straight out.
Yeah.
And your stop signal is down.
Right. Okay. All right. And actually, that can be quite helpful.
It can be quite helpful because if you're pulling a load, there is an exception to that rule. If you're operating a vehicle that is there's more than 24 inches or 24 inches or more between the top center of your steering wheel to the left side of the vehicle, which it don't give you enough room to get your arm out to completely do. There's an exception where you must have mechanical. It must be mechanical electrical lights on that vehicle.
Right.
And for a vehicle that's pulling a load of 14 feet or more, where it won't be, you could not be visible from the rear.
Right. Which again is kind of common sense, but it's good to know that you have an alternative, because there could be some times maybe when your turn signals are not working properly, and and you really need to, particularly when you're making a left turn off Jackson Street.
Right.
You need to be able to let people know what you're getting ready to do.
Well, one of the things that brought this to my mind is the other morning I was driving and I noticed one of the kids on a bicycle using those arm signals to make a turn, letting people know behind them where they were going.
Right.
And that really crossed my mind again. How many of us remember to do that?
Right. Exactly.
So that child was using those, and it's something to remember to look at for these children, so that they. So we're taking better care of them. We know what they're going to be doing.
Right.
If we know them, we know what they're going to be doing when they're using it.
And of course, this time of the year, as school has just started back, is probably a good time for you to use extra caution when you're going through school zones, because you can't always count on what the kids might do or what they might do.
Right, and just a reminder, everyone, on the school zone times, and you can go to the Tullahoma website, to the police department side, look on there. We have it posted on what the school zone times are. Unfortunately, there are some side streets that you come on and there's no school zone signs on those streets, and when you turn onto a street that does have it, you may be in between the two signs and don't know that you're in that school zone. So if knowing those school zones and the school zone areas would be quite helpful.
Right. And again, school zones are hugely important this time of the year. The fines are pretty hefty if you are speeding through one of them.
Yes, sir.
But what do you do if school is not in session but the lights are still flashing?
I would just go ahead and obey them.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and obey them. They're on for a reason. Who knows what they're on for? I mean, there could be an event up there that they're having,
Right.
and usually we will be on scene if there is. But for the most part, just go ahead and obey them. If they are on and you don't think they should be on, let us know. We'll
Right.
make the appropriate phone calls and we'll take care of the situation. But for the sake of safety, just go ahead and obey those.
If it's a Monday and it's a holiday, chances during school's session, chances are they might still be on.
They might still be on. They're programmed not to be.
Oh, are they?
So, yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay.
So they're on a program, they're on a set program. So we'll see if they're on. Just let us know.
That was a
So we'll
good
take
answer,
care.
by the way, George, because if you know school is not as in session, or you're pretty sure, and you're running through there 40 miles an hour, if something's happening at that school that you don't know about, you may get a ticket.
Yes, sir.
You know, so just be on the safe side and follow the whatever the lights are telling you. A quick question that was not on our topic today. What are you supposed to do if you're on a two-lane road and there's an ambulance coming down on the other side, or an emergency vehicle, police car or something? Should you try to pull over? Or?
You should. You should slow, at least for the most part, slow. You may not be able to get over.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a courtesy. So if you could just slow and pull to the shoulder of the road if you could.
Okay, that's common sense, I guess. Again, to be on the safe side.
Any kind of emergency apparatus, if you could just slow and move to the shoulder of the road if possible. That gives them more time to react, more space to operate that vehicle in.
Right. So that is just something that you probably just should know and do as a courtesy. You know, and in the South, usually we pull off the road for funerals. But is that a law? Or
It basically is. You're supposed to give them the right of way on that.
Right. Absolutely. And again, that's the courteous thing to do.
Yes, sir. It's the most courteous thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
okay. All right. Always good information when Captain Morris comes by. You're still acting police chief, I guess, right?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you going back to night shift whenever that's
No,
over?
I'm going to be staying. I'm on day shift, so
Okay.
I'll be staying where I'm at here.
Oh, okay. So I think George had to convert from night shift to day shift when you took over this job, or were you already on day shift?
I was on day shift when I took over for Chief Blackwell for a few months, but
yeah,
I'm on day shift anyway.
Yeah, okay. All right. George, always good to talk to you. Always great information. And folks, we appreciate you watching that. And you might learn something that's kind of important here on this segment that we call Police Pointers. We'll be right back in just a moment with more Living right after this.
Here at Manchester Funeral Home, we know the importance of living and working in our local community because it's those families who we serve during their time of need honorably. We believe in supporting local business and offer only 100% Batesville caskets, the best in the industry and a driver of our local economy. If you want straightforward and fair pricing while working with the people you know, choose Manchester Funeral Home, serving your community since 1932. And pre-planning and pre-funding can be the best gift you ever leave your loved ones. Call us to pre-arrange. Manchester Funeral Home. Our family caring for your family since 1932.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
How long has it been since you raced a cheetah? Are your tornado creating skills getting rusty? Tired of being the only one in your neighborhood who hasn't built a dinosaur? Sounds like it's time to visit the Hands-On Science Center. The Hands-On Science Center is an indoor science playground. In this museum, please touch is the rule. Join us for weekly science demonstrations on space, lasers, lizards, rocks, and a whole lot more. No two visits are ever the same, so visit often to see our ever-changing exhibits and demonstrations. The Hands-On Science Center, 101 Mitchell Boulevard in Tullahoma.
All right, folks, we're back, and I'm glad to have Mark McGee with me here today, and you are the Director of United Way for Bedford County.
Correct, John, thank you. Yes.
And you are doing something, this is the coolest thing. First time I heard of this, I thought, this is the coolest thing I've ever heard of. I think it might have happened somewhere before, but to have it right here, you're getting ready to have a duck race?
Duck race on Labor Day, September 3rd. It was the brainchild of our board of directors. Brian Nairn was the real ringleader of this, and he's probably been following it pretty strong. And I didn't bring breakfast, but I brought a duck. This is duck number 1. So.
Duck number 1 right there. Now, explain how this works. Do people buy ducks?
People buy the ducks. They can buy the ducks either from one of our board members, or they can buy on our website at www.unitedwaybedford.org.
Right.
And they just click on Purchase Ducks, and they'll get a receipt, and I'll send them an email with their duck numbers on it. So we've sold several already on the website, and we just got it up like 4 or 5 days ago.
Right.
We're getting people interested in that, and we've sold quite a few hand-to-hand. People, kind of like you were saying, people are like going, that's really unique and really different, And I think that's attracting a lot of people, just the uniqueness of it. And we're going to drop 3,100 ducks below the dam near Fisherman's Park for people familiar with that. And they're going to go over the bridge and go down to where the river narrows. I'm not sure exactly where that spot is.
Right.
Mine does. I'm not sure exactly where. And we'll have a net spread out, and then we'll also have a mesh tube, and the first 10 will go in that mesh tube. We'll determine by that who the first 10 winners are. First prize is $1,000. And
wow! How much does a duck cost?
Ducks are $5, and you can
just
buy
$5.
And you can buy them in groups. You can buy a half dozen for $25. You get 1 free. You can buy a dozen. For $50, you get 2 free, and if you want to really go quackers, you can buy $100. You can buy $100 worth, and you get 4 free ones.
If you want to go quackers,
and we've had 2 people buy $250 worth of them at one time.
Now, what's the quacker box?
Quacker box is a half dozen, and you buy 5 and you get a free one.
Folks, you can buy a quacker box from this guy. Now, I'm going to ask you a question because I know as many people as we have now in society, and need be, we recycle like we've never done before. I know there's a group that we do business with, the Wash Spot, which is a car wash. They're using all biodegradable chemicals now and stuff, environmentally friendly. Somebody's going to say, well, what about these ducks? There'll be ducks plastic floating in the river.
They're environmentally friendly. They're biodegradable. We ordered them from China, from a company that somewhat specializes in this type of thing, and they are guaranteed to biodegrade. We haven't catch them, but we do this one. They will biodegrade. There will be no concern about plastic being in the river.
So what about if a big bass comes up out of that river and eats a duck?
Well,
that's just the way it goes?
Maybe doing there's something about a bass, but they could very well happen, I guess, from that standpoint. So
that's just a chance you take. That's why you need to get a quacker box.
Exactly.
Where you have more than one.
Yeah. Like I said, we've sold 2 $250 packages.
That's great.
And people are catching on to it. It's a fundraiser for us. We have a crawfish boil during the basketball season, during the NCAA tournament, and we hope this will be as big or even bigger a fundraiser for us. First time we've ever done it, and we're hoping to have a good turnout. We're going to have it's going to be 11 to 3 on Labor Day, right behind the Regions Bank building on the square, and we're going to have right now we've got 5 food trucks. We've got several people entertaining. They're going to be doing entertainment. We've got a good list of entertainers.
Good.
And at noon, the ducks drop.
Duck drop.
Ducks drop at noon.
The only kind of duck drop I remember is the kind that you get under your toenails when you're on the farm.
Well, it was really interesting. One guy bought one for me at something a few weeks ago, and he said that he had done a golf ball drop in Alabama, and he bought a $10 golf ball, and he said he forgot all about buying it. And he said, like 2 months later, he gets a call from the sheriff's department in this county in Alabama. He goes, oh no, what's going on? And they go, didn't you buy a golf ball? And they said, yeah. And he said they took a helicopter and dropped all these golf balls on a green on a golf course, and the one closest to the hole won. His went in the hole.
No kidding? So he was a winner.
$1,100 for a $10 ticket. So you can win. You can win with this. $1,000 for the first one. We've got 6 Tennessee Vols game tickets for unspecified game right now. We have prize. We've got 4 tickets to a Vanderbilt game, non-conference game they pick. We've got MTSU, we're hoping to have 4 tickets for the Western Kentucky game from them. So we're going to have several different things like that.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
We're working on all the prizes for that right now. And we'll have a silent auction as well. We've got Marcus Mariota, Oregon Ducks jersey. He didn't wear it, but it's one of his jerseys. and so we got that and several other items that we'll have coming in, a lot of food items, that type of thing.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, you know, we have I can't remember the young man's name who comes, but I've been very impressed over the past several years with the effort to clean that river. Definitely. And there's a group over there in Shelbyville, that Bedford County, that they go down the sides of that river, and they have a specific day that they clean X amount of miles of river side.
They did that a few weeks ago.
And I think that is just a magnificent effort. And of course, for you to be able to go down to a place, because I'm sure that's part of that they work.
Right.
So you're going down to a clean facility, a clean property to have a fun event.
Wayne Bomer was the
yeah, that's right.
That, and he passed away last year.
Right.
They honored him this time around for his work, and had a good crowd. I think they found everything from a commode to a Christmas tree when they were cleaning up this time. So they were.
Well, I tell you what, Mark, thanks a whole lot, buddy, and you know you're always welcome.
Thank you.
Give us that date again.
September 3rd, Labor Day, right behind at Fisherman's Park on the Duck River, right beyond the bridge. We'll have the lanes blocked off and sidewalk, and also we'll have the area behind Regents Bank blocked off for food trucks, entertainment, and some other booths as well.
There you go.
And if you want to buy a duck, you can catch one of us. That's a member of the board. We have great board directors. They're out selling really hard right now. Also, you can just click on our website, www.unitedwaybedford.org, and it says purchase ducks. Click on it and buy your duck.
There you go. Very good. Folks, we'll be right back after these messages.
It's your trademark. That's something special everyone knows and remembers. It's your thing. It's made holidays special for decades, and summers unforgettable for the entire neighborhood. It's made everyone laugh every single time. Don't let illness or injury keep you from doing your thing. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors and meet new people. We have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
Hello, everyone. I'm John Rickman. And this is Pat Welch. And, John, we're here for segment 77.
Great.
The conversation with John and Pat.
Great. Pete Seeger originally sang this song. Peter, Paul, and Mary had it out. And this sort of goes along with the segment because there were protest songs and such as that back in the 60s. And we're going to be talking about the
It's pretty well recognized as the #1 folk song.
If I had a hammer.
Pete Seeger.
Pete Seeger?
Yeah.
I don't know much about him, to tell you the truth. I heard this first from Peter, Paul, and Mary Didn't realize he originally headed out. And I don't know much about Pete Seeger, but I know he's authentic.
Yeah.
You know,
if
that's
you
what
YouTube some of those Kingston Trio
you can.
and Peter, Paul, and Mary, those they're almost inevitably at some point those kind of musicians or artists mention him.
This is quick chord.
You can do it, John.
Chord
you can
formation. If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer at danger, I'd hammer out a warning, I'd hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. If I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring out danger, I'd ring out a warning, I'd ring out the love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Ooh. If I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning, I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. It's song of danger, it's song of freedom, it's song about love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. I've got a hammer and I've got a bell, I've got a song to sing all over this world. It's a song of justice, it's a song of freedom, it's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Ooh. It's a song of justice, it's a bell of freedom, it's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Woo! Poorly done, but I got through it.
That was good, John. Really
There's a lot of words, and they come at you fast, Pat.
And with meaning.
Yeah, good song.
Meaning.
Good song. We're going to talk about the Vietnam Draft Lottery. This occurred, I'll get to that year in just a minute, but many lives back in the 60s were put on hold because of uncertainty about the future. And marriage had to be stopped or not planned. Schooling, long-term employment, all unknown for men of draft age back at that time. On December 1st, 1969, the United States held its first draft lottery, which gave young men a random number corresponding to their birthdays. Men with lower numbers were called first and told to report to induction centers where they could be ordered into active duty and possibly sent to the Vietnam War. This was something that was done on TV, and my brother said he remembers sitting in the dorm room and in a area where all the students met, and they would watch the TV, and when a number was...
Our friend Joe Lester said that he was at UT at the time and really active in his fraternity. He said the fraternity houses it'd be solemn night. They'd be there with the TV on, and some of them, he said, when if their number was drawn real early, they'd just get up and leave, just despondent, and it was
that's what my brother
time.
Had told me the same thing. I was married when this occurred, so it was it didn't affect me so much. The first number drawn was September 14th. This means men born in the year of 1944 to 1950, with a birth date of September 14, received first priority for call to duty. The draft lottery...
What year was that, the first time?
69.
69.
December 1st, 1969. It was a method of selection that made choosing appear more fair, because there had been outcries of maybe it not being fair. The Vietnam conflict and war was not popular for much of America. There were many protests and demonstrations throughout the country. The draft lottery was held at Selective Service National Headquarters in Washington. 366 blue plastic capsules, each containing one date of the calendar year, including a leap year date. The capsules were drawn out and opened one by one and assigned sequentially to rising numbers. The last date drawn was June 8th, so that person probably felt pretty good about their...
Well, about number 300, people started feeling relieved.
I think I read it never really got above 168, but I might be wrong on that. But the highest draft number called for induction from 1969 lottery was, there it is, 195. So those selected 196 through 366 did not get called at all. I knew I'd read that somewhere. There were lotteries in 1970 for men born in 1951. In 71, there was a drawing for men born in the year of 1952. And in 1972, there was a drawing for men that were born in 1953. But those that were born in 53 were not drafted due to the abolition of the draft. The
numbers were pulled.
Yes.
They just didn't. They ended up not drafting them. So what birth year was it? It was the first not to be drawn.
Not to be drawn. That would have been 1954, I suppose.
And I was born in February 4th of '54, and I have had a really hard time with the whole deal ever since. Because I had friends who are a little bit older, and we got friends a little bit older than me now that served. And what if I'd been born 6 weeks earlier?
Yeah.
I'd been in that, and I can't go to a Vietnam movie without being guilt-ridden.
I think we are happy there is a volunteer service now without having to do this.
Right.
Of course, our weaponry is much more sophisticated than it was back then. Pat, you were born on your date. I won't give it out because somebody might look up your Social Security number and get all your money.
Yeah, you always want a return on your time and investments. So there wouldn't be a lot of return on that.
But you would have been 210. My number...
If I'd been drawn in 53?
Yeah, and 69.
Yeah.
But it didn't affect you at that time. My number was 305, if my date corresponded with that. Chris, my son, 77. Mark, my other son, 22. The lower the number, the more concerned a parent would become also, because parents didn't want their child to be injured or killed out there.
John, can you remember registering?
Yes. I went to be examined, and I was turned down. We met somewhere in Nashville, and everybody undressed. I mean, it was a humbling experience standing there with about 150. I don't know how many people there were.
Did you register at Lewisburg? Where was the closest?
We registered
federal?
in Lewisburg because that's where each county had a selective service representative.
See, I had a card, and I had to go to Winchester. There's a federal building there in Winchester, off the square, and I went there to register. I never will forget that.
Yeah.
One of the identifications they wanted was scars. They went all over me, and I had a cut on my left fore.
So they detected that.
And that was on the card.
But, you have to have so much respect for those people who served in Vietnam or served in the military in any way. But those men that served in Vietnam...
And they served at a time when they came home. They were treated with disgrace. It was just an awful time.
The withdrawal of American troops in Vietnam with the Paris Peace Accords was January 27, 1973, and the Vietnam War ended fully April 30th, 1975. Casualties from the Vietnam War, over 58,000. Wounded,
we talked about
153,000, and almost 2,000 missing in action. The Vietnamese Army and Viet Cong had over 1 million killed in action. It is estimated that between 2 and 4 million of Vietnamese civilians were killed during the conflict. Now, just, I had a picture of my friend Phil Jones to show, but there were some others that we didn't get, so we only had Phil's. I'm not going to show his just by himself. He's a good fella, and I don't want to have him stand out that way. But you also said Mike Green served in Vietnam.
He was, I believe he was in the Navy and was a medic.
Mallon Hill, my friend, was in the Navy, and there are just so many that we won't be able to mention them all. There were 2 fellows from Chapel Hill who passed away in action, Johnny Sherfield and a Carl Gilbert, and I'm sure there were many from here that they gave their lives in Coffee County. So we just take our hats off to those folks that served in Vietnam, and in fact in any part of the military.
And I'm so glad now that our country is a little bit more appreciative of those people's service, and they don't have to hide that fact. I had my mother's brother served in the Marines, and 2 tours of helicopter duty, which is not good. The survival chances are not really good on 1 trip, and he ended up making 2. I had a cousin on my father's side that was in the Tet Offensive and was wounded in that, and it was just a really, really tough time. The cousin that was wounded, his father, I mean, he was just almost in agony the whole time he was there, just so fearful that he was going to get the bad news. It was a really tough time, and one that's hard on me. What about me allowed me to escape that by 6 weeks or 8 weeks?
There's
tough.
There's some feelings of guilt because you didn't go. Yeah. I had friends to go, and then me not being turned down for, something wrong with me that didn't. It still makes you feel a little guilty.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. That wraps up segment 77, but we hope we can come back because we have got the stories. Thank you all.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of 2 jobs, but only gets paid for 1. He's tough enough to feed the man that gave him a lifetime of nourishment. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. That's right. No employee of the month bonus check here. This guy, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. Good luck finding a gym to train for that. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
You're going to love this segment. I'm so blessed today to have on the set Triquetra, or at least partial.
Half of Triquetra.
Half of Triquetra. And they're going to be performing at South Jackson Civic Center 14, 15, 16, is that correct?
Of September,
Of September.
correct.
And tickets are available already, so call the Civic Center or go online at southjackson.org to get tickets. All right, Tracy and Robert.
Robert the Fourth.
And Robert is her son.
Yes.
Tracy Sugg is the, I'd say the director, correct? Of the entire group.
Correct.
Producer, hired hand.
Artistic director,
Yeah,
yes.
You're fabulous. Tell us a little bit about the show.
I would love to. So the name of our group is Triquetra, and there's 4 of us that are dancing, and the show that we're putting on is The Saint Who Danced. So this is an original show that we wrote and choreographed, and it's a lot of fun, and it's very different from anything that you would have seen.
It's set in medieval times.
Exactly. As our costumes tell you, when you come on stage, you're met by a troupe of troubadours. Now, historically, troubadours would go from place to place and would tell a story back in the Middle Ages.
Right.
So it's a play within a play. So you meet the troubadours, and they're telling you this story of Sean O'Neill, who's a young Irishman. He hears the preaching of St. Patrick.
Now, Sean is played by your other son,
yes,
correct?
my oldest son, Colt, plays Sean. And he hears the preaching of St. Patrick and goes on this adventure. So it starts in Ireland, then Sean travels over to Scotland, meets people there, then he comes down and hits 2 places in England, and it's just filled with a lot of adventure. We have 10 different swords, we have a dragon, it's going to be fun.
Is this a sword?
This is actually the most unusual
That is
sword.
beautiful.
You'll notice that there's no tip on it, it's a wrapper sword. It has 1 swivel handle here and a fixed handle. We had these made by, there's only 2 wrapper sword makers. They're in England.
Now, is this only for dancing, or can you actually cut somebody's head off with this?
No, well, you could harm some knuckles,
Yeah.
which we've done. It's done for dancing. It was started with the Coal Miners Guild back in the Middle
beautiful.
Ages, and they have continued this type of dancing. So when Sean travels down to Tyneside, England, which is where wrapper sword originated, he meets the Brits that do the wrapper sword, and so that leads into that story. So as he travels from place to place, we've done a lot of research on what were the character of the people, how would they act, what are his adventures during that time period.
Right. Is this used in the clip you have on the video that you brought for us?
I think this video does. On our website, triquetratroop.com, we have several clips, but I think it is
so
shown.
if you guys in the back are ready, we'll just go ahead and show that clip. Do you need to introduce it in any way?
I think it speaks for itself.
If they're ready to play it, we'll just... Absolutely love it. And while we're at it, I noticed this at the beginning of the clip.
Yes.
And this is your logo.
Correct.
And these will be for sale.
Yes, we'll have them. And on the back, Peggy, you're going to notice that we have part of a prayer poem that St. Patrick wrote, which is,
let's see.
St. Patrick's breastplate. And so the voice over St. Patrick is actually done by a Tullahoma man.
Oh, good.
Mike Parker, the deep, rich voice.
Yeah.
And so throughout the show, you'll hear part of that recited. We do have the dragon, but I think one of the exciting things is the music. It's very
I love the music.
epic.
Absolutely.
Very, if you think of a stirring movie, you know, with you know, everything that we've done from
Braveheart comes to my mind when I hear your music.
Exactly. So the music's going to just be really stirring. We got permission from 4 independent composers, international,
Great.
and so we're using their music throughout the show. You can actually buy their music from our website. We have links to their place.
And you notice you could also get tickets on their website.
Yeah, it
and
links
so if you go
straight
to
to
their website, you can see a lot more videos and a lot of information that you might. Robert, do you love to dance?
I love to dance.
I can tell you do, because what really struck me, it was I guess it was last year, I came to Celtic Cup, and you all just barely had room to move, and it was absolutely sensational. First off, I noticed you'd grown up a lot. And so when did you start dancing?
Probably about 3.5 years ago or so.
Well, you do a great job, and it just sunk in like the rest of your family.
Yeah,
They're all fabulous, just fabulous dancers, and I am so proud that you're coming to South Jackson. I know you do your clothes, you fashion everything on the medieval style, even down to the shoes.
Correct.
I wish everybody could see those shoes because they are great.
Well, thank you.
These are for dancing.
Yeah,
right?
these are the dancing shoes. They're Irish hard shoes that Riverdance uses.
Right.
We use the same shoes made in Ireland. They have the taps from the heel and the toe. So even though the show has a strong foundation of Irish dancing, so if you like Irish dancing, you like epic music, you like medieval, it'll come in. And then we've also have a little Scottish dancing. We have the rapper sword dancing, Morris stick dancing.
So you're giving everything that has influenced the dance styles that you do.
Right. So when you come, you'll step back in time and be entertained.
I love it. I would encourage everyone to get a ticket early because they're going to go fast, because it's a fabulous show. Let's go ahead and you tell me a little bit about this.
Okay, well this
Everybody
is
can see that.
One of our props. Like I said, being medieval troubadours, they would travel with a wagon. So on stage we've made a huge troubadour wagon which would have all the props that the troubadour family would have had. So we brought one of our small ones, and this is a random cloud, and I will not tell you. You'll have to come and see how the random cloud plays a part in the show.
Okay.
But we repeated, we had a color palette. Everything is similar.
I can see that. I love that.
We did different knotwork. Even the dragon, when you come to see him, whom we named Chrysophylax, which is an obscure...
Chrysophylax.
Yeah, that's right. If you read Tolkien, there's an obscure reference to Chrysophylax. But even the dragon has some knotwork on him. We wanted him to look like he leapt off the pages of illuminated manuscript.
I love it.
And he's big.
And this is a family show. I want to encourage you to bring your children and your grandma, and everybody's going to enjoy this. It's going to be a fabulous show, and we only have 12 seconds. So if there's any last words you have, throw it out there.
Well, if you enjoy an allegory, if you enjoy Celtic medieval themes, if you enjoy great music, dancing, and a whole lot of fun, come see The Saint Who Danced.
I love it. Thank you so much. We'll be back with other things.
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
Hi, I'm Cindy.
And I'm Jacob. I'm the Rooster.
And I'm the Red Mate. And we would like to welcome you to
Rooster Wear.
Yes, Roosterware is a cottage industry producing accessories for men, women, children, babies, and pets. All items are hand cut and sewn locally. Roosterware specializes in bow ties, pocket squares, scarves, cufflinks, neckties, and aprons of all sizes for all ages. Baby products include onesies, diaper covers, bibs, and burp pads. All bow ties, tie it yourself or pre-tied, come with an adjustable neckband. All products can be made with the material of your choice, as special orders are available upon request. Don't be standing back looking at fashion. Create your own with Roosterware.
Come visit us at
roosterandredmaiden.com
to find our handcrafted designs for
the cock of the walk.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Hello, everybody. I'm Fran Gray, and it's my privilege to be part of the Living Show today. Thank you, John, and all UP heads for allowing me to be here. I have the privilege of working with Alzheimer's Tennessee. We have recently opened an office here in Tullahoma, from which we're serving all of southern Middle Tennessee. Alzheimer's Tennessee is for Tennesseans, by Tennesseans. Everything we earn, everything we raise, or any donations stay right here in Tennessee so that we can continue to serve and support families who are affected by Alzheimer's disease and any other dementias. Today I have my friend Marcia Massengill with me. Marcia, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, I'm delighted to be here, Fran.
Marcia has many years' experience in helping families and being a good source for professionals as well. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with Alzheimer's?
Well, I started with the local office and then moved up, but I've got about 20 years in helping families and learning about Alzheimer's and teaching people about how to communicate with someone with Alzheimer's. It's very important that caregivers get support, that they get help, that they know they're not, you don't get me started, that they know they're not alone.
That is so important, because so many times when you have illness of any kind in your family, you can become very isolated. Absolutely. Not only the patient, but the care partner becomes very isolated. And it's a lonely time. It's a tough time. So we want to provide support, don't we?
I'm excited about it.
Yes, yes. Our very first support group, called Food for Thought, is going to be next Monday, August 20th, in our new office. And our office is located at 207 North Jackson.
Do you have food in the bag?
We have Food for Thought. Right? This is to remind you all to please bring a sack lunch. We're meeting at noon at our office. Of course, our services are free, and we ask that everyone bring a sack lunch. So here is a reminder, and we will provide a cup of coffee or a glass
Coke
of lemonade or water, something healthy for you.
Oh, okay, not a Coke.
Well, if you need a Coke, I bet we can find one.
I bet we can.
Yes, but we are providing hospitality, we're providing support. We want this group to be shaped by the care partners. But Marcia, as you can tell, has much great experience as a facilitator and I'm learning, and I've been involved in group dynamics before, but this is a new way for me to care for others and serve others through the Alzheimer's Tennessee group. So we're really happy. We have lots of wonderful materials we want to give people. We are also working to have a good base of resources, information, and we want people to call us and ask. As you see our number on the screen, that's 931-434-2348. Call us. We also have a helpline that's answered 24/7. You can go to our Alzheimer's Tennessee website and get more information. Again, though, we want people to come out, and let me tell you that if your loved one needs care during the time you are with us for our Food for Thought, let us know. And Morning Point here in town is offering respite time and lunch. So just call us again at 434-2348 so we can let them know how many lunches to prepare, and they can have a good lunch at Morning Point, and their care partner can have Food for Thought with us at our office.
And there's no charge. Morning Port's not charging anything, correct? For this lunch and this time. And if I could just add, local support and this Food for Thought is so important, because as caregivers, care partners come together, it's amazing what they can learn from each other. The best ideas can come from someone else. It may be as simple as you're caring for your husband and you can't take a nap because you're afraid they're going to leave. Maybe something as simple as putting a hook and eye at the bottom of the door, hook and eye at the top of the door, so that they don't think to look up and down and you can take a nap. Maybe as simple as you're caring for your mother, she's looking in the mirror and frightened, or her reflection in the windows and she's frightened. Who is the old woman? You learn, well, maybe it's as simple as taking the mirror down, maybe closing the blinds, going and sharing what they're going through and learning from other people. They're not alone. Alzheimer's drains physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially.
Yes.
Alzheimer's Tennessee is here locally to help, and I'm so excited about being a part of this Food for Thought. I can't remember the name of it. Food for Thought.
Well, Marsha, we are just so thrilled that you are volunteering your time and your experience and your wisdom. And again, when we're tired, it's hard to think of something as simple as what you're suggesting. So together, we can hopefully find some solutions to some problems. Our office, as I say, is 207 North Jackson. We have orange and purple streamers fluttering from the porch. That porch is open to anyone who wants to come by and sit for a spell and just rock and just take the world more gently, more slowly. Your loved one is welcome to come. We do have a lot of good literature we want to share. Also, we want to mention that this weekend, Catherine Murray, our good friend Kat, is presenting His Story Told by Her 13th production.
That's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it.
And all of the proceeds come to Alzheimer's Tennessee. And again, that money will be reinvested in our community and in our surrounding counties so we can help support and educate and advocate for our loved ones and friends, neighbors who are here in the community suffering from Alzheimer's or a related dementia. So come to South Jackson Civic Center this Saturday, the 18th at 7 o'clock. It's general seating. Tickets may be purchased at our office, or they may be purchased from Kat at her business, McMurr's, at 101 OG Street, or you may buy your ticket at the door. So we are wanting to have a good crowd, lots of fun. It is family friendly. You can come and dance and sing some great Michael Jackson tunes and feel good about supporting Alzheimer's Tennessee. I want you to put in purple September 14th on your calendar. That's Purple Out Day, and that's a day when we want everyone in the community to wear purple, put purple on their cars, on their house, on their business, to help raise awareness of people who are suffering from Alzheimer's disease and other related dementias. So we've got a lot of great things coming up, and we appreciate the opportunity to serve you and come and see us and be part of Food for Thought. It'll whet your appetite. Thank you.
Smoking tobacco accounts for 3 of every 10 fire deaths in the United States.
Tullahoma Fire Department need you en route to a structure fire, 202 Main Street. Heavy smoke showing. Neighbors advise child trapped inside.
Lighters, matches, and associated smoking paraphernalia are the leading cause of preschooler fire deaths. We as firefighters know that most structure fires can be prevented.
Slow down! I've got one! Command, this is primary search. We have a victim. Need EMS to meet us at the front door.
Please help us to give you a fighting chance. This can be prevented. Contact the Tullahoma Fire Department for a free home safety inspection.
What's a Tennessee vacation? It starts off like any road trip, and then, boom, adventure and thrills everywhere you look, which happens to be some of the most beautiful scenery in the country. Music here, history there, and all kinds of green in between. Come relax and unwind, or bring the crowd for some stargazing, or stargazing. Whatever you do, come hungry and expect an awesome soundtrack. It's all right here in Tennessee. We're playing your song. For a free vacation guide, visit tnvacation.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Okay, Peg, we got here. It's sort of like the country show. When it was over Sunday afternoon, Peggy and I looked at each other and went,
What
did
now?
it again.
We're still living.
We're still alive.
I'm so excited about Traquetra. I love Celtic music. I love Celtic dancing. I love anything medieval. And I'm so excited they're going to be at South Jackson.
Well, she I don't know how many years ago it was, came to our church, the First Christian Church, and I went in one Sunday afternoon, and she started with a lump of clay and did a service, and by the time she finished, she spun it around, and it was Jesus Christ, and it's the most impressive thing I have ever seen in my life.
She does beautiful artwork. Anything artistic she can do, I think.
So
amazing.
It's just delightful to have them in the studio.
So get this on your calendar, September 14, 15, 16, I believe,
And don't forget his story told by her, which is going to be at South Jackson. Fran, that's this Saturday, isn't it?
Michael Jackson,
that's Cat Show
and
for Alzheimer's Tennessee.
Alzheimer's, then it'll be a wonderful show, and they have such fun.
Always.
You know, she has one of the students that's been on the show isn't he in New York now?
He's in New York, yeah. He's in a boy band.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
I mean, he sang at one of the NBA games. He sang at the All-Star game.
I know.
He sang at the All-Star game.
She is, Kat Murray is a real giver of time, of energy, and she has the talent to do it.
You know, and she's done this 13 times and never kept any of the money. She always gives 100% of the money away.
Right, that's wonderful.
That is just unbelievable that she does that, and she's respected and been honored in our town as the Grand Marshal of the Christmas Parade. She was Chamber of Commerce Woman of the Year one year, and well deserved, very well deserved. So
we have a lot of people in this community that are willing to give time. I never thank you enough for coming in off the street and being announcer for the country show.
That's just what we do, Peggy.
You do a fabulous job.
We're brother and sister Mister. You know, we
by
bail each other
Mama
out.
and Mister.
Yeah, we bail each other out no matter what happens, you know.
Anyway.
So, hey, what we're going to do, we're going to close the show today. The Tullahoma Swim Club had a banquet, fundraiser, meeting, and Carla Lynn Joyce was there. She is a U.S. Olympic swimmer, has won 4 silver medals in Tullahoma. She was here in Tullahoma for a meeting, and we're going to end with that video right there, let you see some of that. Thanks for watching what we do and allowing us to be up here for 25 years. We might catch up with South Jackson Goes Country at some point, but I don't think so. See you next time, folks. Thank you.
Tonight we have Carolyn Joyce. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, and then she's going to come up and speak. She is one of only a handful of U.S. women to ever compete at 3 Olympic Games. It's pretty impressive. Kara is the only swimmer in the NCAA college swimming history to win the 50 and the 100 freestyle all 4 years in a row. She is an 18-time NCAA champion and the second most decorated collegiate athlete in history for any sport. In 2017, Kara founded the Lead Sports Summit for Teenage Girls, an organization dedicated to the empowerment and development of young women in sport. Let's give a big round of applause for Carolyn Joyce.
I brought 2 of my medals. This one right here is from the Athens Olympics in 2004, which about half of this crowd was born before 2004, so that's good. And this one with the red ribbon is from the Beijing Olympics in 2008. So something that I think is really cool about the Summer Olympics is the front of the medals are always the same for the Summer Olympics. It's the Greek goddess Nike, which is the goddess of victory. And then the back of the medal, the ribbon on the medal, all of that is designed by the host country. So that's what makes it really unique and special to each host country. And for Athens, they put the beginning of the Olympic anthem in Greek on the back of their medal. 2004 was the first time the Olympics returned to Greece, so that was kind of cool. And all of their colors, bright blues, pinks, greens, it was like a big celebration there. And then Beijing put a ring of jade on the back of their medal. I'm gonna pass these around for you guys all to see, and you can hold them, and you can try them on, and you can take pictures. Just be very careful. So thank you guys for having me tonight. Working with the team here has been so much fun the last 2 days. I think we've learned a lot. We've definitely had a good time. And to me, it's truly an honor to be somebody that's brought in to do something like this, to be somebody that's brought in to talk about swimming and to talk about my experience, because it wasn't that long ago that I was sitting right where you guys are, listening to an Olympian and dreaming of their story. So it's surreal, but it's quite an honor. So now I get to tell you guys a little bit about my story and why I'm standing here today. I grew up in upstate New York, so very far north, a lot colder, a lot more snow, and I have 2 older brothers, 2 brothers, and I'm the youngest, I'm the only girl. And so when I was 5 years old, I came home from school and I was like, Mom, all my friends are doing tumbling. I want to be a gymnast. Can I please sign up? And my mom was like, Kara, both your brothers want to be on the swim team, and the family has 1 car, so that car is going to go to the pool. Even though it wasn't my first choice, I loved swimming. I loved the feeling of being in the water. I loved seeing my friends. I loved trying to race my brothers. Like, I loved everything about it. But with that being said, I was the worst swimmer on the team for quite a while. And when I was 7 years old, I watched the Olympics. It was my first introduction to the Olympics. I was sitting on the bed with my mom, and I saw swimming on TV, and I was like, what is that? And she was like, oh, Kara, this is the Olympics, where the best swimmers in the world get to compete and race against each other for, 1 Olympic champion. And I was like, I want to do that someday. I want to be an Olympian. And my mom turned to me, and she was like, that's great, honey, but Olympians can get from one side of the pool to the other without stopping. Maybe tonight you can try that in practice. I was on a 2-year journey to make my full 25. And so that night, I went to practice, made the whole 25 without stopping, and I was like, I'm going to the Olympics. My mom said I have to go a whole 25, and that's what I have to do. It doesn't really work like that. But in watching that Olympics, it changed everything for me. It completely changed my perspective on what sports can do and where they can take you. And when I was 14 years old, I qualified for the Olympic trials. So I get on the blocks, I swim my 50 free, kicking and pulling as hard as I can. And I reach for the wall and I look up, 75th out of 76 swimmers. And the girl that was 76th was disqualified for a false start. So I was literally the slowest person in the entire event. So I went to the locker room, sat down, crying, like I should probably quit. This is terrible. My coach walks in and she was like, we don't have to talk about that race right now. We'll just put that aside for now, but I want you to come out to the pool deck and meet somebody. Are you Carolyn Joyce? And I'm like, yeah, yes. And as soon as she says my name, I know who she is. She's like, I'm Summer Sanders. So nice to meet you. Why are you crying? And so then I start crying harder because it's my hero, first of all, and she knows my name, second of all. And so I explained my whole story. I just, sat through 6 days of Olympic trials. I finally did my race. I was supposed to get first or second. Instead, I got 75th. And she was like, okay, sit down next to me. So I sat down next to her and she put her arm around me and she was like, Kara, you should be proud. You're at Olympic trials. That's a big deal. Don't worry about not making it. She's like, I didn't make it at my first Olympic trials either. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, I swam the 100 fly and I got third. And I was like, yeah, same. She was like, you know what? You go home and you work hard for 4 more years. Every day you go to practice, Kara, you give it an honest effort. When you come back, you're gonna be taller, you're gonna be stronger, you're gonna be faster. That's gonna be your time. So 4 years later, I went back to Olympic trials. I walked in, I was taller, I was stronger, I was faster, and I was like, you know what? I know this meet is 7 days long. I know that my best event comes on the last day. I know every day there's gonna be amazing things happening, but I'm gonna worry about what's in between my 2 lane lines. That's where my energy's gonna go. And the first event that I swam was the 100 freestyle. And I got first place. I made the Olympics when I was 18. And when you make the Olympics in the 100 free, you actually make it in 3 events because you get to swim the 400 freestyle and the 400 medley relay in addition to the individual 100 free. So that was a big ticket. My dad was like, if we're gonna spend all this money to go to Greece and she's only got a 50 free. No, Dad, I made 3 events, so you can come to Greece. So a couple days after the 100 free, I swam the 50 free and I got second. So I ended up making 4 events at my first Olympics. I had to get a passport. I had to go to Greece. And at 18 years old, your parents don't go to the Olympics with you. Like, you go as a part of Team USA, they go separately. And I was like so eager to get on the plane. I was like, bye. And they were like, don't lose stuff. Can you make sure you call us? And I'm like, yeah, bye. Got there, lost my passport, lost my cell phone, lost my luggage, lost everything I could have lost. 18, first time really out of the country. But somehow I managed to show up behind the blocks when it was my time to race. Thank goodness. And I brought home 2 silver medals from the 2004 Olympics, one of them that you'll see tonight, and I brought home 2 5th place finishes individually, and I went all best times. After that, I decided the Olympics were the coolest thing ever, and I wanted to go back, and I worked really hard for another 4 years, attended college at the University of Georgia, had an incredible college experience. I absolutely loved college swimming, and in 2008, I was very fortunate to qualify for the Olympics again. I went to Beijing, and I brought home 2 more silvers and a 6th place finish. Again, I went all best times. So happy with it. After that, I was 22, and I was like, well, shoot, what does one do when they are 22 and they've done the thing that they've always wanted to do their whole life? Like, what do I do now? And just like all of you guys that are training, all of you guys that are swimming, you have this fire, and it's burning inside of you, and you don't know how good you're gonna be, and you wanna feed that fire, and that's why you go to practice, that's why you go to meets, and you work hard, and you race, because you don't know what your limit is, and you're trying to test that. And at 22, I still felt that fire. I was like, I think I can be better. I think I still have something left in me. And at the time, there was only, I think, 4 or 5 women that had ever competed in 3 Olympic Games. And I was like, I'll be darned, I'm gonna be number 6. And the journey from 2008 to 2012 from 22 to 26 years old wasn't easy. As you get older, I look back, I'm like, oh, that's so old. Not really. But as you get older, your body does not recover the way it once did. You know, even from ages of 18 to 22, it starts to change. And you know, I struggled with back injuries. I struggled with finding the right program to train an old lady. I struggled with a lot of different things. But in 2012, I showed up to Olympic trials, and I walked in, and I was like, okay, 7 days. Best event is on the last day. Focus on my 2 lane lines. Let's see how this goes. The first event that I swam was the 100 freestyle, and I got 22nd place. Not really how I wanted to start out the meet. It's an event that I've won at that meet before, and I got 22nd. And I went back to my hotel, and I was like, okay, not ideal, but also I've been swimming long enough, and I know that one bad swim is not going to determine how the rest of my meet goes. One bad swim is one bad swim, and it's over. And I have the ability right now to turn that around. So a couple days later, I swam my 50 free, and I qualified for semifinals, top 16. I swam semifinals, and I qualified for finals, top 8. And the next day, I got the opportunity to swim in finals. So I feel really good. I feel, you know, you worked hard for this, Kara. You owe yourself this moment. Just make it your best race. It's a 50 free, come on. So I got on the blocks and I dove in, swam my 50 free, kicking and pulling as hard as I could down the pool. And I touched the wall and I looked up and I got 2nd place and I made my 3rd Olympic team. After the London Olympics, I actually officially did retire, and I started the Lead Sports Summit. And the Lead Sports Summit is for teenage girl swimmers, and it's a 4-day summit. We host it once a year. It's in Atlanta, Georgia. And we empower young girls. We bring in 6 female Olympic champions. We bring in a nutritionist, a confidence coach, a sports psychologist, a leadership specialist. And we have a lot of fun. And it's coming up in like 3 weeks. So I'm like not sleeping right now, getting excited. But we have 126 girls coming. And that's really, that's the greatest gift, I think. You know, I always say that the best gift that swimming gave me, it's not the records, it's not the medals, it's the people, the amazing people that you get to meet along the way. And for me now, like I get to meet a whole new crop of people every single year and hopefully have an impact on their lives. So that's the greatest gift of all. But that's kind of my story. That's how I got here today. And if you want to hear more about it or watch more about it, those of you that weren't at the movie last night, there's a documentary that came out and it's called Touch the Wall, and it's on iTunes, I think, and somewhere. If you Google Touch the Wall, you'll find it. But it's a documentary that follows my journey alongside Missy Franklin to the 2012 Olympics. But yeah, so I wanted to open it up to questions today. Parents, swimmers, neighbors, anything you guys have ever wanted to ask an Olympic swimmer, today's your chance. So thank you.